Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony will begin in approximately 15 minutes. Is announced. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Commanding General, Major General Darrell Hood, and the Post Command Sergeant Major, Command Sergeant Major William Shove, welcome to the United States Army Training Center and Fort Jackson for the graduation of Companies Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, and Echo from the 2nd Battalion, 60th Infantry Regiment, 193rd Infantry Brigade. Please stand for the invocation given by Chaplain Daniel Steiner.
I invite you to pray in your faith tradition as I pray in mine. Almighty God, I thank you for this day and for the occasion that we gather. As we look over this group of graduates today, I thank you for them and their willingness to swear an oath to support and defend the Constitution of our United States and the freedoms that it provides. Be with them as they continue in their training to be all that you have made them to be and all that our country needs them to be. Keep them safe as they go from here to places unknown. Help them to turn to you as they need the strength to go on and the courage to face another day. Bless them for all that they have given up and all that they will give up in order to keep this great nation a beacon of freedom across the globe. Just as you have blessed and been with every soldier over the past 250 years. Thank you for the family and friends that are gathered here today. Bless them and for their support and of their loved ones and for our country. I pray these things in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Please be seated. The purpose of today's ceremony is to recognize the commitment of 750 men and women you see here who have chosen to serve their country as soldiers. Not everyone successfully completes the difficult period of training. Far fewer are able to accept the challenges and difficulties that come with the life of a career soldier. But those in formation today represent disciplined, motivated, physically fit soldiers who exemplify the Army's 7 core values: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. They are imbued with the warrior ethos and display the tenets of putting the mission first, never accepting defeat, never quitting, and never leaving behind a fallen comrade. This is an important day, and these soldiers can take great pride in their accomplishments. To the parents, families, and friends of these soldiers, Fort Jackson extends a very warm and sincere welcome. We are justifiably proud of our retirees' lifelong dedication to our nation and truly honored that the next generation standing on this field have chosen to join our ranks. Please direct your attention to the left of the formation. The units marching today from your left to right are the 282nd Army Band under the command of CW4 Jared Delaney. Graduating soldiers from companies Alpha and Bravo, the Battalion Color Guard, and graduating soldiers from companies Charlie, Delta, and Echo. Identified by their distinctive headgear are the drill sergeants. These dedicated non-commissioned officers form the backbone of the Army's training center system, selected based on professional competence, leadership, ability, and years of service. These men and women undergo intensive training to earn the right to wear their distinctive hat and insignia. With the drill sergeant's hat goes the important responsibility of molding civilian men and women into soldiers. The commander of troops for today's ceremony is Captain Drew Bishop, who serves as the Battalion S3 for the 2nd Battalion, 60th Infantry Regiment. He and the battalion staff are positioned on the field.
Sound attention!
The reviewing officer for today's graduation is the commander of the 2nd Battalion, 60th Infantry Regiment, Lieutenant Colonel Ryan Rockwell. On his left is Command Sergeant Major Eric Salo, the battalion's senior non-commissioned officer, master trainer, and principal advisor to the commander.
Sound! Present arms! So are the battalion is formed!
Scouts out.
Go Devils! Sound! Order arms!
The commander of troops will now bring forward the colors and persons to be honored.
Colors and persons to be honored. Center. Forward!
Competence and commitment are the hallmarks of professionalism. The soldiers and drill sergeants coming forward will be recognized for their excellence in training and duty and performance and serve as examples to all.
Sir, colors and persons to be honored are present.
Present the command.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the playing of the national anthem. It is appropriate for soldiers in uniform and all armed forces veterans to salute the American flag. We ask our civilian guests to please remove your headgear and place your right hand over your heart for our national anthem as it is played.
Sound! Present arms! Detachment! Present! Forward!
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Detachment! Order! Forward! Sound! Order arms! And parade! Rest!
The soldiers most responsible for the training of these soldiers are the drill sergeants who are carefully selected by the Department of the Army. The drill sergeant's campaign hat and badge have been a stoic symbol of professionalism and pride since 1962. At this time, the drill sergeant of the cycle for Delta Company, 2nd Battalion, 60th Infantry Regiment, Drill Sergeant Janae Jasnowski, will recite the drill sergeant's creed. We ask that all drill sergeants, past and present, please stand for the reciting of the drill sergeant's creed.
The drill sergeant creed. I am a drill sergeant. I will assist each individual in their efforts to become a highly motivated, well-disciplined, physically and mentally fit soldier capable of defeating any enemy on today's modern battlefield. I will instill pride in all I train, pride in self, in the Army, and in country. I will insist that each soldier meets and maintains the Army standards of military bearing and courtesy, consistent with the highest traditions of the U.S. Army. I will lead by example, never requiring a soldier to attempt any task I would not do myself. But first, last, and always, I'm an American soldier, sworn to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. I am a drill sergeant. This will defend.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Colonel Ryan Rockwell and Command Sergeant Major Eric Salo will now present the awards. The outstanding drill sergeant of the cycle for 260th Infantry Regiment is Sergeant First Class Janae Jasnowski from New Orleans, Louisiana. The soldier leader of the cycle for Alpha Company is Private Jeremiah Tillery from Greensboro, North Carolina. The soldier of the cycle for Alpha Company is Specialist Jesse Byrer from Frederick, Maryland. The soldier leader of the cycle for Bravo Company is Private Jack Bowyer from Grove City, Ohio. The soldier of the cycle for Bravo Company is Private Alex Weiser from Merritt Island, Florida. The soldier leader of the cycle for Charlie Company is Private Trevar Bailey from Landisville, Pennsylvania. The soldier of the cycle for Charlie Company is Private Adrian Garcia from Camarillo, California. The soldier leader of the cycle for Delta Company is Private Justin Jones from Vancouver, Washington. The soldier of the cycle for Delta Company is Private Kyron Zumar from Fort Myers, Florida. The soldier leader of the cycle for Echo Company is Private Garen Swickard from Palm Coast, Florida. The soldier of the cycle for Echo Company is Private Brian Hoover from Riverside, California. Ladies and gentlemen, the commander of the 2nd Battalion, 60th Infantry Regiment, Lieutenant Colonel Ryan Rockwell.
Distinguished guest, Lieutenant General Retired Bodette, Major General Hood, Command Sergeant Major Schoaf,
Colonel Metters, Command Sergeant Major Clancy, thank you for joining us today. We often say the profession of arms is a family business, passed from one generation to the next. As we gather on this momentous day, I'd like to take pause and thank the veterans in our audience. Your past service has paved the way for the mission these soldiers are about to embark on. If you're able, please stand so we can recognize and honor your service to our nation. Before you stand 750 newly forged American soldiers, hailing from urban centers, rural towns, and 13 countries abroad. They represent the breadth of the American spirit. 10 weeks ago, they came to us as your sons and daughters, husbands and wives, brothers and sisters. That's still who they are today, but they're also something more. They've been tested mentally, physically, and emotionally. And every one of them that stands on the field in front of you has earned it. They've marched more than 50 miles under load. They've engaged targets with their M4 from hundreds of meters, and they've trained on their warrior tasks and drills. They've experienced hardships, cold, heat, hunger, fatigue, and rain. And they did not quit. Because of that, they are more resilient. They are more lethal. Through all of that, they found something deeper, pride in the profession and pride in themselves. The feeling that you're part of something bigger than yourself isn't given, it's earned through pain, through perseverance, through purpose. None of this transformation would have been possible without the tireless efforts of our drill sergeants, who give their all, day in and day out, to transform civilians into soldiers. They don't just teach skills, they instill standards, model discipline, and imprint values that will echo in these soldiers for years to come. To our drill sergeants, thank you. You've left your mark on the Army's future. To the soldiers of 2nd Battalion, 60th Infantry Regiment, today is not just a graduation, it's a rite of passage. You now wear a uniform that binds you to warriors in many generations. Those that stood at Lexington and Concord, crossed the beaches at Normandy, moved up Highway 1 to seize Baghdad, and others that have spent their formative years in places many Americans will never know about but are forever grateful. That legacy is now yours. You're not just part of the tradition, you are the tradition. Your names will be added to the ledger of our Army's history. Before you leave, I want you to take pride in this moment and what you have accomplished. But don't let that pride fuel your hunger, not your ego. You've learned the most fundamental truth of our Army here at Fort Jackson. Our power lies in our people and our team, not just you as an individual. It's our people and our teams, not our flat platforms, that define us and set the Army apart from the rest of the Joint Force. You've joined something few will understand and something sacred. We're immensely proud of you. Scouts out, no ground to give, and victory!
Sound attention! Colors reversed! March!
Today's soldier is above all a warrior, adaptive, confident, and competent. As a soldier, you are totally committed to the warrior ethos, grounded in Army values, and determined to destroy enemies of the United States of America and her allies. The United States Army Soldiers' Creed embodies this commitment. To the soldiers on the field, The uniform you wear at this moment is more than an outward display of your vocational choice. Your uniform is a symbol of a nation and an unspoken assurance to all those who see you that you are a willing and able protector of the freedoms fought so arduously for by all those who have gone before and all those who will bravely come after. You have become what you set out to be, a soldier in the United States Army. The soldier's creed is your declaration of your unshakable commitment to the ideals this nation was founded upon and will continue to guarantee. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as Private Trevar Bailey recites the soldier's creed.
A soldier's creed!
Please be seated.
Pass and review!
Pass and review!
In consideration of those around you, we ask that you please remain seated and in the bleachers until all soldiers have passed the reviewing stand and the conclusion of the ceremony is announced. As you are approached by the American flag, it is appropriate to rise and remain standing until it is passed to your right. The 60th Infantry was organized in June 1917 at the outset of World War I from cadre furnished by the 7th U.S. Infantry. In November 1917, it was assigned to the 5th Infantry Division and underwent its baptism of fire on the Western Front. After the First World War, the 60th Infantry was inactivated in South Carolina in 1921. A generation later, in August 1940, war in Europe resulted in a rapid expansion of the U.S. Army. The 60th Infantry was reactivated and assigned to the 9th Infantry Division. In 1943, during the Battle of Sajan Valley along the Tunisian-Algerian border, it was during the fanatical drive by the 60th Regiment that a captured German general's diary was given to the regiment as its nickname. In a German general's account of American actions against the Germans, he wrote, "Look at those devils go," and thus the 60th Infantry Regiment became the Go Devils. In June 11, 1944, the 60th Regiment debarked at Utah Beach on the Continent Peninsula, Normandy, France. On June 12, 1944, driving hard towards the Saint-Colombe in France, the 2nd Battalion 60th Regiment completely outpaced the rest of the 9th Division. For a time, the unit was even believed to be lost, but actually, the battalion had overrun the German defenses in the face of murderous fire and had cut the main highway to the northwest. Instead of withdrawing, the battalion set up a bridgehead on the Douve River and held the position for 7 hours until the rest of the division caught up to them, facilitating the cutting of the peninsula. Due to this demonstration of rapid penetration and maneuver, the Scouts Out motto originated for the battalion. Scouts Out is the official greeting of the battalion. After service as the 2nd Battle Group, 60th Infantry, from 1958 to 1962, 3 battalions were activated at Fort Riley, Kansas, and assigned to the 9th Infantry Division for its deployment to the Republic of Vietnam in December 1966. The division was the only major U.S. combat unit to conduct operations in the Mekong Delta. The 9th Infantry Division was the first to be withdrawn from Vietnam and returned to Fort Lewis, Washington in 1917, where the battalions were inactivated. Later, 2nd Battalion, 60th Infantry was reactivated on October 21, 1972 at Fort Lewis, then inactivated at Fort Lewis and relieved from assignment to the 9th Infantry Division in February 1991. The regiment was assigned to the Training and Doctrine Command on August 27, 1996, with the 2nd Battalion activated at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Passing the reviewing stand is the commander of troops, Captain Drew Bishop, and the battalion staff. The 282nd Army Band is commanded by CW4 Jared Delaney. The drum major is Staff Sergeant Benjamin Garnett. Alpha Company is commanded by First Lieutenant Ryan Wang. First Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Rios and trained by Drill Sergeant Ortiz. Second Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Northrup and trained by Drill Sergeant Cantor. Third Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Francis and trained by Drill Sergeant Cousineau. Fourth Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Ocampo and trained by Drill Sergeant Atkins. In the rear of the formation is the First Sergeant, Sergeant First Class Dylan Graben. Bravo Company is commanded by First Lieutenant Xavier Vargas. First Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Williams and trained by Drill Sergeant Jones. Second Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Franklin and trained by Drill Sergeant James. Third Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Samoya and trained by Drill Sergeant Hayter. Fourth Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Luke and trained by Drill Sergeant Montero. In the rear of the formation is the First Sergeant, First Sergeant Fali Masson. Ladies and gentlemen, as you are approached by the American flag, it is appropriate to rise and remain standing until it is passed to your right. Charlie Company is commanded by Captain Kevin Firth. First Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Jones and trained by Drill Sergeant Tigan. Second Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Worsler and trained by Drill Sergeant Hernandez. Third Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Terzani and trained by Drill Sergeant McCree. 4th Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Taylor and trained by Drill Sergeant Magana. In the rear of the formation is the First Sergeant James Jones. Delta Company is commanded by Captain Tristan Trewinski. 1st Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Walter and trained by Drill Sergeant Humans. Second Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Bourgeot and trained by Drill Sergeant Brown. Third Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Vasquez and trained by Drill Sergeant Salas. Fourth Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant McHugh and trained by Drill Sergeant Salas. In the rear of the formation is the First Sergeant Scott Pringle. Echo Company is commanded by Captain Robert Dietrich III. 1st Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Mayfield and trained by Drill Sergeant Zuniga. Second Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Curry and trained by Drill Sergeant Martinez. Third Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Colon and trained by Drill Sergeant Sanchez. Fourth Platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Garnett and trained by Drill Sergeant Atkins. In the rear of the formation is the First Sergeant Sean Robertson. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the Army song and please remain in the bleachers until the conclusion of the ceremony is announced.
Sir, this concludes today's ceremony.
Take charge of the battalion.
Scouts out.
Go Devils.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. Awardees and family members of awardees, please move to the canopy to the left of the bleachers. All other families and friends, please meet your soldier on the parade field. Once instructed by the respective companies, we ask that you please remember to take all trash and personal items with you as you exit. Please enjoy the rest of your day and have a safe journey home. Victory starts here.